What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Ace of Base. And we're back with a hugely consequential tune in the history of the group. Shout out to Mikey for giving me the background here. So Everytime It Rains was apparently written by a songwriter, not a member of the group, and it's one of those tunes that was shopped around to some different bands and artists, and eventually the CEO of Arista, Clive Davis, acquired the rights to it, and he essentially demanded that Ace of Base recorded and included on their American edition of the 1998 album Flowers. And not only that, but he insisted they couldn't change the lyrics and that he wanted Lynn to record the vocals solo. So Lynn looked over the lyrics, and apparently there were some lines that she objected to and felt they were a bit obscene and just didn't want to do it. And so Jenny agreed to step up and record the vocals. So they recorded a demo with Jenny on vocals, and they sent it to Clive, who apparently was furious. And I guess he quite famously called them and was shouting and essentially said, "You better do this or I'm going to drop you from the label, and it better have the blonde one on the vocals." So Lynn, not wanting to cause problems for the rest of the group and not wanting everything to be derailed just because she wouldn't sing the song, she relented and she agreed to record it. So I guess she came into the studio, did it in one take, and Mikey was saying that the way she sounds on the tune, you could tell she was pained and didn't really feel the lyrics in the way you might for a song that you had written yourself or that you were comfortable singing. And essentially this is what broke up the band. I think it was Jonas, is what Mikey said, later commented that this is the song that broke Ace of Base, the original version of the group, and made Lynn want to leave the industry and stop recording. So even without knowing anything about the tune and without having heard it before, it feels like there's a lot of weight with the track. As for the title, Every Time It Rains, it sounds moody or atmospheric, meaning every time it rains, there's some emotional tone or there's some situation that you can't help but think of. Hard to imagine how that might have lyrics that are obscene or objectionable, but again, not having heard it, I'm sure the context will become apparent, or at least I'll try to pick up what I can. But yes, a hugely consequential tune. Let's hear it. This is Ace of Base. The track is Every Time It Rains, and it's included on the American version of the 1998 album Flowers.
I know the storm is coming, and the thunder just confirms my fears. And I know that tears are in it. I'll be crying, unable to stop. Look, here comes the very first drop. 'Cause every time it rains, I fall to pieces. So many memories the rain releases. I feel you, I taste you, I cannot forget. Every time it rains, I get wet.
I think I got it.
Darling, I am still in love with you. As time passes by, it just intensifies. I know I'll never be with you again. I'll never find another with that kindness in his eyes. I'll be trying, unable to stop. Look, here comes the very first drop. 'Cause every time it rains, I fall to pieces. So many memories the rain releases. I feel you, I taste you, I cannot forget. Every time it rains.
So yes, I think I figured it out. Obviously, the last line of the chorus is playing a double entendre. Indeed, I almost feel like that line specifically is out of place in that the rest of it, it creates an atmosphere that, like, when it rains, I think of being with you and being intimate with you and so on. But that line is so on the nose that it's sort of like it distorts the melancholy reflection of the rest of the tune. And I think it's like a bit trying to be too clever, if you will. So I get it. I get why, especially because the way that line is hit at the end of the chorus, again, it's just really on the nose. So I do understand why she'd be a bit uncomfortable and say, like, look, can we change this line? No, we can't change this line. I have to be the one to sing it. So sonically, I don't dislike the track. I think there's a lot of cool elements to it. It does have that sad ballad type of feel. I like that Spanish guitar. I like the strings in the background, the slow syncopated beat. So I feel like it's a tune that if they were allowed to work it the way they wanted and to reconfigure it and indeed rewrite one or two of the lines, I think maybe it wouldn't have had the tragic impact that it had. And ultimately, again, not being part of that creative process probably kills your artistic endeavor or feeling anyway, right? Like being handed something that you're not allowed to tinker with and just record this. It's kind of like the story of a lot of Motown groups where the label was very restrictive and basically said, this is what you're going to wear, these are the lines of the song that you're going to sing that you didn't write, and this is the way we want this to go, this is how we want it to sound. You're the performers, you're not the artists. So I imagine already it would have been a bit less than ideal from the point of view of the band, and then for Lynn specifically to not be able to change the words and have to sing it because the CEO of the label wants to hear that instead of letting the band decide who does what for the tune, that's definitely got to be not only like heartbreaking but a professional insult essentially. So again, I get why that would have had the effect that it did. Ultimately, again, I don't think it's a bad song, but I think the last line of the chorus definitely makes it weirder than it would be without the other line. And again, I don't know who wrote it, but I like some of the lines in the tune, but I feel like that one line is trying to be too clever. So, in any case, it's a crazy thing to know so many years after the fact that some of these bands behind the scenes, weren't able to make the music, or at least not consistently make the music that they wanted to make for the reasons they wanted, but because people in suits at record companies and so on were essentially saying, this is what's going to sell, this is what's marketable, and you better do it. It's crazy to think about. So again, as someone who comes from the world of like underground music, techno and punk rock and so on, where by and large people are doing whatever the hell they want in whatever style they want, and that's the end of the story. It's crazy to hear about the pop world and radio type music where there's a lot of pressures and a lot of threats and other issues that go on behind the scenes. So in any case, let me know what you think of this one. Shout out again to Mikey. I will see you next time. Peace.